You won't find this on the homepage of JW.org, but it's still happening. In 2006, Jehovah's Witnesses published an article promoting corporal punishment, not as a metaphor, but as a real-world parenting advice. They quoted outdated parenting books, cherry-picked Bible verses, and they send a message that's both subtle and sinister. And that's what they're quoting to millions of parents, and not just in the past. This material has never been retracted. In fact, I searched their entire public site. No reversal, no apology, just the same two verses repeated like gospel. And now it's gone beyond doctrine. A South African elder called into the live stream last night, and he said the African branch office is facing a governmental deposition. Why? Because this pro-spanking council has allegedly been enforced across tribal congregations, including the Hutu. In 2019, South Africa's constitutional court made it clear. Corporal punishment in the home is illegal. Any use of the rod, even in love, is considered assault. So you can see the article there. We'll put a link to it in the video description. So we're going to talk about Matthew Millais Gray. He's the fella that called in last night. He's from South Africa. And I looked on his site. His storytelling style is abstract and layered. Matthew Millais Gray is not just speaking in metaphor. He's a former pioneer and an elder who submitted legal documents, gave traceable warnings, and is now risking everything to protect children. So you don't have to agree with every word, but his testimony deserves to be heard. I have about 4 or 5 clips I'm going to play to you right now, and you can hear it right from Matthew's mouth, as well as I'll leave a link to his video and his YouTube site in the descriptions. So here it is.
Today is the 26th of July 2025. So it isn't that long ago that in the Christian life and ministry meetings for Jehovah's Witnesses across congregations, not just in South Africa, but in many interconnected countries via Zoom, elders drew attention to a Watchtower reference from 2006, 4/1, pages 9 to 10. So that reference again is Watchtower, 2006, January, February, March, April 1st, pages 9 to 10. I'm going to quote it.
Ministry. So Christian Life and Ministry. It's our Christian Life and Ministry meeting workbook. Plug that in. All these workbooks come up. So if you're a J-Dub, I guess this is what you got to pull up to go to your weekly meeting. So he's referencing July here. So we're going to plug that in. July, and then he's saying July 14th. Well, the first one was about husbands and wives, so I looked at that. Now, this one is about children. Prepare for your children's life challenges. Begin training them from birth, and discipline them. So here's the point that he's really talking about, discipline. They quoted this Watchtower. Sure enough, this is the recent study. This is study material. They're training you here in July this year, right now. So this is what you've learned. July's over, just over a couple of days ago. So it takes you right to this. I didn't scroll up or down. It says right here, of course. Well, of course, children are children. And some are prone to be contrary, well, even wayward. You know, like little Johnny doesn't want to go to the meetings no more, right? What do you do when little Johnny doesn't want to go to the meetings? He jumps up and down and says, I don't want to go to those meetings. I don't want to get brainwashed here. Maybe one of the kids at school said you'll get brainwashed here. What do the parents do? What can a parent do? Well, we look at little Johnny. Foolishness is tied up with the heart of a boy. Let's pull that rod of discipline out. That's what will remove it far from him, says the Bible, Proverbs 22:15. We don't even look up the verses because we trust the Watchtower, right? So, and that's the way it is with most J-dubs. They trust the Watchtower. They don't even look it up. Some view this as harsh, out of date, but actually, the Bible is against violence and abuse of any sort. So the rod at times literal, though at times literal, represents parental authority that is administered firmly, but lovingly and appropriately out of concern for the children's eternal welfare. And you see, folks, that's the kind of nonsense that JW parents are given to raise their children. So it's no wonder this is raising a lot of concern. So let's get back to the video, and I just wanted to show you where that
I'm going to quote
came.
it. Of course, I've been told this is copyright, so I can get a copyright violation. That's the threat. But let's say fair use, right? Because it's about teaching. I don't know how else to teach other than to use this printed page. Anyway, it says, of course, children are children. That's the quote. It starts off, quote, of course, children are children. Foolishness is tied up with the heart of a boy. The rod of discipline is what will remove it far from him. The rod, though, at times literal, represents parental authority that is administered firmly but lovingly. Shall I repeat that? The quote says, the rod, though at times literal, represents parental authority that is administered firmly but lovingly. So anybody who had that Christian Life and Ministry worksheet would be able to see that that was the reference. A genuine Jehovah's Witness who wants to do the right thing. Do we uphold Jeffrey Jackson's direction? Or do we take this Watchtower 2006 4-1 pages 9 to 10 and say that that is the updated information because that was done in the recent Christian Life and Ministry meeting? So again, I'm going to emphasize, is this wording neutral? Or does it leave open the idea that a literal rod, physical punishment, can still be lovingly applied? There are some who apply the authority anyway to begin with, besides personality. So at the Australian Royal Commission, Jeffrey Jackson, who is a governing body member, he gave a sworn testimony to say that corporal punishment is not to be practiced among Jehovah's Witnesses. He explained that the rod is standards. He explained that, yes, corporal punishment was something that was done in the past, it's history. It happened. And fairly recently, not that too long ago. But the point is that what is coming up here with what Jeffrey Jackson says as a governing body member under oath, and then what comes through a repeated Watchtower reference, maybe by accident, I don't know. I've spotted errors in publications, and I write to the particular branch if it's an error that's in a particular language. I'm told, go and write to that particular branch. That's the procedure. Write a letter. Sadly, that letter doesn't always get to the branch because that's another matter. I'll tell you about post and the postal addresses that are on the website and what happens with those. That's another subject. Anyway, why is this legally and morally explosive? Well, once elders publicly encourage parents to interpret the rod as literal, even ambiguously, they've placed their congregations, their branch offices, and the governing body itself under potential legal exposure. If somebody is actually beaten, there's this liability trace, and especially if now you've written and you've registered your post and you've seen that the branch has accepted it, because you've got to make sure that they accept it. They can leave registered post in the post office and not collect it, and you can see it on the system, not collected. So you might have to use courier systems, and you might have to do it not once, twice. You'll have to do it several times and keep your record. It's not easy. These broadcasts, there is any report of physical punishment, liability is going to be far harder to escape, because I'm telling you the record's there. And if I die, I've got a kill switch, meaning all my records are available. Crumbs, Matt, are you serious? Yes, I've got a kill switch. I've had to do it. So we now have entered into the age of removal as opposed to disfellowshipping, the more enlightened removal, if you can call that such. I want to talk about it because the whistleblowers' removal, if they are removed because 1, 2, 3 elders have said, yeah, we don't like what you're saying, you're going against the Watchtower, and you're saying, but that's what the governing body has said, we need to at least put a letter through, folks. After that announcement, any child is harmed, we now have grounds for a case. And let me be very clear, not just in South Africa, Lesotho, Swaziland, now called Eswatini, Botswana, Namibia, all come under this jurisdiction. Because we have congregants that are now in the UK that have served within these circuits, it now affects the United Kingdom. It affects Ireland. There has been what is called a deposition. So it's not a... There's many things that I need to clarify. So when it comes to this particular matter, it is called a deposition. So, and I'll explain why. The branch has been contacted. We have actual evidence that the warnings have gone through the system and have arrived at governing body service committee level.
So you've now seen the article, you've heard the elder, you've seen the contradictions. Now ask yourself, who's protecting the children? Well, to Matthew and to every elder who dares to speak truth under pressure, we see you and we stand with you. Live your life with love, folks, and leave the rod behind. We'll see you on the next video. Bye for now.